Good day. This is HJT Views on current affairs. Today we will be talking about whether democracies such as India and the USA are heading towards some sort of existential disaster. The reason why I'm saying this is because whilst politics has always been considered to be the art of the possible and compromises sometimes can bring about wonderful legislation. In both these countries, the position of the ruling party and the main opposition party is becoming so untenable of each other's views, thoughts, beliefs that it's almost as if each is a resident on a different planet of the solar system. A day or two back in the US, they were talking about an attempted coup by a presidential candidate who was losing but was unwilling to give way. I don't know the rights or the wrongs of it, and I'm not interested because the USA is not my country. But the fact of the matter still remains that a peaceful transfer of power was not being enabled. In politics, one loses, the other wins. And the beauty of politics is that a smooth transfer of power happens in a democracy. One recognizes that one is defeated, one recognizes that one has won, knowing fully well that maybe the next time the circle will turn and he could be, or he or his party could be the defeated party, and the other party could be the winning party. Somehow, in both the USA and in India, this simple pleasantness of political opponents is lost. In India, we are aware that there was a serious attempt to disturb the Prime Minister's visit to Punjab by having obstruction and crowds on the way of the Prime Minister's convoy. Whatever one may say, one may not say, whatever may be the state government is a different party, the central government is a different party. This is the first time in India's history that there was a possibility of a prime minister's life in danger from his own people. This is not the best of things to happen. If my mind goes back to the early 2000s when the parliament attack had happened, but that was an attack by overseas terrorists. That attack also had the chance of an attempt on the then PM Vajpayee's life. It was good that it failed, and the PM, who was then within Parliament buildings in his office, escaped a possible attempt. But today, what has happened since the last 1 or 2 days, it is so clear that governments at the center and the state are considering each other as adversaries. There were certain constitutional duties, certain pleasantries, certain procedures, certain guidelines which had to be followed. Fortunately or unfortunately, in this case, it has completely failed. This has failed. And we need to really see what is it that is happening. That in both the USA and in India, possibly the two largest electoral democracies in the world, have things come to such a pass that one does not bother about pleasantries, one does not bother about friendships, one does not bother about relationships, one doesn't bother about anything. It is all a matter of just shifting the blame from one to the other. Of course, it is coming out that maybe this thing that has happened in Punjab also had some overseas interest of Khalistanis in place, which we don't know. These are just smoke that is coming up. We need to see. But the fact still remains that the governments were both at the state and the center Indian governments, elected by the Indian electorate, either of the state or of the whole of India. And between these two, the sort of adversarial role that is seen and the sort of non-acceptance that something is wrong and the sort of nitpicking and real low quality statements like this was an attempt to move attention away, that there were no crowds at the PM's gathering, and that is why this was attempted. This was, I think, we are, sadly, we are becoming the lowest common denominator in politics. This is simply not the way to conduct politics. Politics has to be civil, but stand firm on your beliefs. But civility cannot be lost. I hope our politicians, at least in opposition and in power, realize that as a nation, India is better served by them reaching out to each other, compromising where required, making some things possible rather than just drawing a line in the sand and say, beyond this, no more. That is not going to help anybody. And I hope this particular event facilitates some rethinking on the part of the opposition party and the government, that adversarial roles do not help the nation progress. That ends my talk of today. I hope you have liked it. If you have, please share it with your friends, colleagues, groups, etc. Till we meet again some days later on another subject. This is goodbye. Have a fine day. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Jai Mumbai. Bye.